This morning, shortly before 11 o'clock a.m., a mental health caseworker responded to this address here on Townsend at 3450 at Townsend Boulevard in order to check on one of her clients. Once the lady knocked on the door, she was met with some resistance from the client inside. She at that time summons the police assistance, which is standard operating procedure. Officer Hall was the first officer to arrive on the scene and began to assist the caseworker. The dialogue began inside with the caseworker and the client. The client was becoming increasingly violent. The police officer summoned additional police assistance, at which time Sergeant Rob Beers and Officer Brian Myers responded to the call for further assistance from the police officer. Once they got there, the client retreated back inside the doorway. He never completely came outside. He was standing inside the doorway there, retreated back inside, closed the door, and the officers reported hearing what appeared to be a gun racking, if you will, loading a gun. The officers then did the best they could to get some cover and continued to try to establish a dialogue with this person. During the verbal dialogue, the client withdrew two knives, one from each pocket in his hands, steak knife type knives. The officers continued to try to maintain a safe distance, continued to dialogue, continued to try to get the client to put the knives down. The client was becoming increasingly agitated, at which time he began to move toward the officers. Two of the officers, Officers Myers and Officers Hall, drew their tasers, and both deployed their tasers at the subject. The subject went down, continued to hold on to the knives. At one point in time, got up as if he was going to come back at the officers. They again tased him, deployed the tasers again. Was having no effect. At one point in time, Sergeant Beers went over to try to kick the knives out of the subject's hands. It would not release the knives. He actually got back up on his feet, continued to move in a threatening manner with the knives in his hand towards Sergeant Beers, at which time Sergeant Beers discharged his service weapon, striking the officer striking the client multiple times, where he was rendered deceased.